Our theme is from Isaiah 26:12. Lord, you establish peace for us. And this is really the part of the verse we're focusing on. All that we have accomplished, you have done for us. And I think those of us who have been at Acts for a while, like myself and a few others, we've had our mountains and valleys. And we're going to share a little bit about that tonight. We're here to celebrate God's faithfulness and what God has done. What God has done for us as a congregation and what God has done for individuals. I don't know if you noticed when you came in, there is a timeline of pictures. Or when you walk in, it's to your right. And if you didn't, you could have walked right by it. Make sure you look at that. A lot of time was put into that. We want to have something that can stay up for a while. It goes through the years from the beginning up to about present. So I just want to tell you about that. And part of the theme also includes we want to honor those who have served over the years. So in essence, it's a timeline of honor. Tonight's service is a timeline of honor. We want to honor those who have been with us and have served well over the time. And it's important too, just as we take time in these milestones to recognize this. Back in when Joshua, when the Israelites were crossing when they were crossing the Jordan River, when God stopped the water, it was flooding for them to go in there. God told them to get stones, one for each tribe, 12 stones, pick them up out of the middle of the river and take them inland with them. So that later on, when the descendants, the children, the grandchildren asked, what do these stones mean? They could tell them, well, God did this. God stopped the water and allowed us to cross into the land. That's partly what we're doing here this evening. We're reflecting back. Most of tonight is reflecting back. Reflecting back to what God has done for us. And so I'm just excited to be a part of it, and also for this opportunity to see some of you guys again. Now, one of the things that is an interesting dynamic about Acts right now is, I don't know the specifics, but probably at least 80-90% of the current attenders weren't here 15 or more years ago. I'm just guessing. And there's people who have asked, well, how did Acts start? What was Acts like? Or what was it like? Well, went back into the archives, and I have this document here prepared by Doug Fike. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Doug Fike. How many of you know Doug Fike? Okay, wasn't sure. That's great. A lot of you. Great. So he was really the instrumental in the very genesis of this church. And this is something he wrote, him and his wife Charlene wrote, in May the 19th, 1986. There's a current picture of Doug and Charlene. By the way, they would have liked to be here, but they're in Europe right now, so it's a little tough to make the trip. So this is May 19th, 1986. Here's an 11-page document that Doug spells out what God was saying to him. Thank you, Dave Cameron, for giving that to me. He had that, and so it was interesting to read over that. Now, I'm not going to read that to you, but you can see the briefs of it in this little thing. You got a couple things when you walked in. The one has the pictures of where we worship. If you look in the inside page on the right side, is a summary of that feasibility study. It's really interesting to see some of the things that God pulled together back then and how some of that stuff is carried through to today. So that's just something I wanted to point out to you. The next thing is, there was 4 people who came from Goshen Fellowship, from Communion Fellowship in Goshen, Indiana. This is the church that Doug Fike was a pastor at. And he put it on Doug's heart. And then these 4 people, one of them, Brian Mishler, is here tonight. Yeah, back here, Brian. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming from Goshen. And I think he found his wife here. So that was not only did he help start this church, ended up staying around. So Julie Diener, who soon became Julie Miller, because she married Dave Miller soon after she came here. They were with us for a while. Now they're down in North Carolina. And Jeanette Buller. Those 4 were the first ones that came from Goshen now to start a church in Lancaster County. That was the premise of how this really all got started. So again, looking back and appreciating what those four sacrificed to move. Could you imagine doing that now? I mean, these were all young people. None of them married at the time. But, just an incredible step of faith for them to do that. And then I found this little red notebook here that Brenda found. This is the minutes of the first couple services of Acts. The first time, I guess, officially in Sunday morning was January 18th, 1987. And it's interesting here, there was 33 present. And those listed there that are still worshiping with us today is this Nelson Helen Lehman. Raise your hand where you at. They're right there. Catherine Barr over there. Kathleen Hollinger. Brian Mishler. Ken and Brenda Yoder. Ken and Catherine Dietrich aren't here tonight. Ken is ill. And Josh Gibble. I don't think I see him here tonight. But so Josh was just a little boy at this time. So he was there with his parents, John and Ann Gibble, who I need to mention. I don't think I've seen them tonight. They're not here? Okay. So I just want to mention that John and Ann Gibble were very instrumental locally here in getting this church started. So if you ever run into them or anything, just thank them for what they did back then. And the first pastor is Henry and Billy Buckwalter. He's going to be sharing it a little later on. So, again, Henry, thank you for answering the call. I think you're going to tell us a few stories of how things got started. So we're looking forward to that. One thing I would mention that Acts was very unique in its leadership style at the time. One of the things that was very clear is they didn't want a pastor that did everything. And then the leadership was formed around a team where the pastor is one on that team. And now the team, they made decisions. Now there was different names Acts has used over the years, but it was more that team concept that they ministered out of that. And I think we've pretty much followed that through today too. I mean, it's pretty much the same vein of having a team. After Henry and Millie served for a while, our next pastors were Jim and Sue Eichenberry. And just got some pictures of them. They're out in California. We invited them to come. We thought the trip was a little far just to come in here. But those of you who remember Sue, remember her love for coffee? She was an unashamed coffee drinker. And but Jim, he's just one of the best teachers there is around. Very, 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 very good in his teaching gift. And then after Jim and Sue's time, Dan Hallworth was here for several years. And one of the things that I remember about Dan that I really appreciated was his ability, his relationship abilities, and just being able to connect well with people, and also his passion for worship. I know personally for me that was something I really appreciated. I did get a quick update on Dan. He's doing well. He's got a supervisor job that he enjoys. And he's involved with a couple small groups, and he continues to pursue God's direction for his life. So that kind of, in essence, brings us up to date from the past. Bruce is not here tonight, obviously, and was planning to share a little bit more tomorrow. So I don't know what about. But we appreciate too, and I'll just say it's not here, Bruce coming in here again. It just felt like God brings the right people at the right time. And now, for those of you who aren't regular attenders, Sean and Tammy Weaver have just been called to be our pastors. So you'll hear from him a little bit later. But it's really been a nice, healthy transition. Bruce has a call to more outside the church and some of the things he's involved with, and we just bless him in that. He'll still be involved here. So anyway, that kind of gives you up to speed over the past time.